pregnant wife's hidden affair leads to her murder in a mineshaft, Lauren and William Hevelin welcomed a baby girl into their family in the summer of 1994. Naming her Erin, they embraced her as a cherished member of their household. From the outset, Lauren and William lavished Erin with love, treating her with the same affection and care as their biological children. This nurturing environment helped Erin forge a profound connection with her foster sisters, fostering a supportive and close-knit family dynamic. Recognizing Erin's deep integration into their lives, the Hevelins decided to adopt her when she was 3, desiring to provide her a permanent, loving home. The adoption process was smooth, and Erin officially became a Hevelin, growing up as a shy and reserved child. Although she struggled socially and emotionally, Erin found solace in her passion for horses. Her affinity for horses emerged early, and she spent much time at the East Tennessee Riding Club. This place became her sanctuary, where she could immerse herself in an environment that appreciated her quiet strength. Erin's connection with the horses at the club was profound. They offered her comfort and a non-judgmental space to grow emotionally and find her confidence. Erin's parents, Laura and William, maintained strict guidelines for their daughters, particularly concerning dating. When Erin met John Corwin, she felt an immediate connection. John's kindness and sincerity stood out, making Erin feel he was truly special. Despite her feelings, Erin was cautious due to her parents' strict dating rules, and she hesitated to introduce John to her family. Throughout her life, the values instilled by her adoptive parents and her unique experiences at the riding club shaped Erin into a person who valued deep connections and personal growth. Her story underscores the transformative power of familial love and the profound impact of nurturing one's passions. After careful deliberation, Erin decided to open up to John about her parents' expectations. She understood that to move their relationship forward, John would need their approval. Sensing the importance of this step, John took the initiative to speak with Lauren and William directly. His proactive approach came as a pleasant surprise to them. Lauren and William appreciated John's respect for their family values and his earnest desire to align with their traditions. His respectful and genuine demeanor during their meeting left a strong impression, gradually earning their trust and approval. Over time, John seamlessly integrated into the Hevelin family, respecting their customs, providing support during tough times, and participating in daily activities. He quickly became a cherished member of the household. As Erin and John's relationship deepened, they officially became a couple. With John being regarded as more than just a boyfriend, he was now a family member. He developed a strong bond with the Hevelin sisters, sharing quality time and creating cherished memories together. After completing high school, John felt a compelling call to serve and enlisted in the Marines, driven by a profound sense of duty. On Erin's 18th birthday, he proposed in a moment filled with excitement and anticipation. Kneeling, he asked Erin to marry him, to which she joyously exclaimed yes. Lauren and William felt immense happiness for their daughter, confident in the strength of her relationship with John and his suitability as her partner. However, they were also acutely aware of the challenges and sacrifices involved in being a military spouse. They worried about the times Erin would be away from home, missing her deeply. Despite these concerns, the couple proceeded with their plans, marrying in Las Vegas following the Marine Corps ball, marking the beginning of their new life together. After John completed his basic training with the Marines, he was stationed at the 29 Palms Marine Base in the stark Mojave Desert of California. It was during this time in 2013 that Erin and John discovered they were expecting their first child. However, their joy turned to sorrow just a few months later when they suffered a miscarriage, a loss that was particularly devastating for Erin. During this challenging period, John provided unwavering support to Erin, comforting her as they both coped with their grief. Resolute in their desire to start a family, Erin told John she was ready to try again once it was medically advisable. 4 months after their loss, Erin took a pregnancy test and was overjoyed to find it positive. Wanting to share this joyous news in a special way, Erin decided to wait until her mother Laura's upcoming visit to California in June. She imagined that revealing the pregnancy in person would make the moment even more memorable. Alongside the big announcement, Erin and Laura planned to make the most of their time together by visiting several attractions in San Diego, including SeaWorld and the zoo, and taking hikes in Joshua Tree National Park. To prepare for their adventurous outings, Erin scoped out hiking trails in Joshua Tree on June 28th. Before leaving, she exchanged loving farewells with John, expecting to return by late afternoon. However, as the hours ticked by, Aaron did not return, and John's worry escalated. He tried reaching her by phone over 50 times, but to no avail. By the morning of June 29th, with Aaron still unaccounted for, John contacted Lore in Tennessee, voicing his concerns. Lore was immediately alarmed, especially considering Aaron's pregnancy and the scorching desert heat. She feared Aaron might have become lost or succumbed to dehydration, given the uncertainty of how much water Aaron had with her. John swiftly contacted the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department to report Aaron missing. He provided details of her last known location and sought their urgent assistance in finding his pregnant wife. The detective assigned to Aaron's case initially speculated whether Aaron might have impulsively driven to Tennessee to see her mother. However, Lore firmly dismissed this idea, pointing out Aaron's aversion to driving, poor navigational skills, and her anticipation for Lore's visit to California for their planned trip to SeaWorld. Determined to find Aaron, John and a group of his Marine colleagues headed to Joshua Tree National Park. The park, with its sprawling 800,000 acres of rugged terrain and expansive desert, posed significant challenges for the search team. Additionally, the scorching temperatures of late June further complicated the search efforts. As the detective delved deeper into the circumstances surrounding Aaron's disappearance, he began to scrutinize the state of her marriage with John. Initially, they seemed like the ideal couple, but he soon realized that appearances can be misleading. The investigation revealed that their relationship had become increasingly strained following the miscarriage, which had deeply impacted Aaron's mental health. She had fallen into a severe depression, profoundly affecting all areas of her life, including her relationship with John. The detective also uncovered financial difficulties plaguing the couple. They were grappling with significant debt, which added to the stress on their marriage. During his inquiries, the detective found out about Aaron's close relationship with Chris and Nicole Lee. Chris, like John, was a Marine, which had initially brought the two couples together. However, Aaron and Nicole developed a bond over their shared passion for horses. Nicole introduced Aaron to the White Rock Horse Ranch Rescue, located about 45 minutes from their base at 29 Palms. This connection provided Aaron with a supportive community and a meaningful escape, helping her cope with her struggles. This new aspect of Aaron's life opened additional avenues for the detective to explore in his ongoing investigation into her mysterious disappearance. The ranch became a sanctuary for Aaron, offering her respite from her marital issues and an environment that soothed her soul. As Aaron's marriage with John grew more strained, she found companionship with Chris, who had recently returned from Afghanistan and was dealing with his own psychological scars. Their mutual understanding of loss and their bond over their love for horses fostered a deep connection between them. Aaron's affection for Chris and Nicole's 6-year-old daughter, Liberty, whom she frequently babysat, further deepened her ties to Chris's family, providing Liberty with a nurturing and caring presence. Initially, Aaron and Chris's time at the ranch seemed innocuous, but their relationship began to evolve, eventually taking on a romantic tone. This change did not go unnoticed by Nicole, Chris's wife, who felt compelled to alert John about her suspicions of an affair between Aaron and Chris. John was heartbroken upon hearing Nicole's concerns about Aaron's fidelity. Despite the pain of betrayal, John's commitment to his marriage remained unshaken. He loved Aaron profoundly and was determined to salvage their relationship. Subsequently, Aaron ended her romantic involvement with Chris and made amends with John. However, the investigation into Aaron's disappearance uncovered a contrasting narrative. Detectives learned from Aaron's close friend Jessica that Aaron and Chris were still romantically involved. Jessica revealed that on the day Aaron vanished, she had mentioned a special trip she was planning with Chris. Without knowing exactly what Chris had in store, Jessica hinted to the detectives that Aaron suspected Chris might propose during this trip, despite her ongoing marriage and her pregnancy with John's child. Adding to the complexity, Jessica shared a startling confession from Aaron. She was uncertain about the paternity of her unborn child. This revelation added a new layer of intrigue and potential motives in the ongoing investigation of Aaron's mysterious disappearance. The distressing revelation about Aaron's potential plans with Chris and the uncertainty about the paternity of her child devastated John, shattering his world. His anguish deepened when detectives informed him of Aaron's scheduled meeting with Chris on the day she disappeared. Amidst his grief, John found himself under scrutiny as a potential suspect in Aaron's disappearance. He vehemently maintained his innocence, insisting he had no part in whatever had befallen her. On June 28th, the day Aaron went missing, a crucial observation was made by a passerby near Joshua Tree Park. A woman driving by noticed a car parked oddly on the roadside. As she passed by again in the opposite direction, she saw the car remained in the same spot. Sensing something amiss, she took several photographs of the vehicle, aiming to capture any potential evidence. 2 days later, on June 30th, another individual reported the still-parked car at the park entrance to the police. When officers arrived, they ran the vehicle's registration, which shockingly revealed it belonged to Erin Corwin. The proactive woman who had photographed the car on June 28th later turned over her images to the detectives, providing them with potential leads. Investigating the location where Aaron's car was found, detectives discovered a curious set of shoe impressions. These tracks formed a loop from the driver's side door to an area with visible tire marks, suggesting Aaron might have left her car and entered another vehicle. This piece of evidence led investigators to speculate that Aaron had arranged to meet someone here. Despite Chris initially claiming only a casual acquaintance with Aaron, the investigation uncovered their affair, contradicting his earlier statements. Under pressure, Chris admitted to the romantic relationship, though he initially downplayed the details to the police, believing them irrelevant to Aaron's disappearance. However, the detectives were skeptical of Chris's account, doubting the sincerity of his admissions and questioning the veracity of his narrative. The detectives confronted Chris with evidence suggesting that on the day Aaron disappeared, she had planned to meet him at Joshua Tree National Park. Chris confessed that he and Aaron had once discussed eloping together, but he claimed he was never truly serious about it, citing his deep affection for his 6-year-old daughter, Liberty, as his reason for staying. He couldn't fathom abandoning her. Chris initially denied having invited Aaron to the park, suggesting instead that she had overheard him talking about his own plans to visit and might have decided to go independently. In an attempt to coax more information from him, the detectives bluffed, asserting that the tire tracks found at the park's entrance matched his vehicle, insinuating his involvement in meeting Aaron that day. This revelation visibly unnerved Chris, and he somewhat backtracked, admitting he might have been in the area where Aaron parked her car, though he insisted it was after she had already left. He maintained that he had not seen Aaron at all on the day she went missing. Shifting their focus, the detectives then investigated the White Rock Horse Ranch, where Aaron spent a lot of her time. They spoke with the owner, who mentioned that on the day Aaron vanished, Nicole, Chris's wife, had texted her saying Chris wouldn't be at the ranch due to illness. However, the couple's behavior seemed off when they returned to the ranch the next day, appearing tense and uneasy. When Aaron's disappearance became known, Nicole allegedly told the ranch owner that she believed Aaron was staging her disappearance for attention and sympathy. Further investigation revealed that Chris and his family were planning a move back to Alaska as Chris was nearing the end of his military service. The ranch owner had allowed Chris and Nicole to use her SUV to transport some of their belongings. The detectives were granted permission to search the SUV after Aaron was reported missing. During their search, they discovered a potato launcher in the vehicle, which is considered an illegal weapon in California. This discovery added another layer of complexity to the already convoluted case. The discovery of the illegal potato launcher provided the detectives with probable cause to arrest Chris. He was released on bail on July 5, 2014, and a week later, he was discharged from the Marines. Meanwhile, the search for Aaron persisted across San Bernardino County. During this time, Aaron's husband, John Corwin, underwent a polygraph test and was cleared of suspicion, affirming his truthfulness and further distancing him from involvement in Aaron's disappearance. The investigation had led detectives to believe that Chris had enticed Aaron to Joshua Tree National Park with the intent to kill her and conceal her body in one of the area's many abandoned mine shafts. A significant breakthrough came when a friend who had accompanied Chris on a mine scouting trip before Aaron's disappearance shared photos from their expedition with the detectives. Armed with these photographs, the detectives engaged a cave expert to help identify the locations shown in the images. The expert pinpointed the Rose Peru mine in the Mojave Desert as a potential site, but cautioned that multiple mines dotted the landscape, complicating the search for Aaron's remains. A comprehensive search operation was launched at the Rose Peru mine, lasting several weeks. Despite the detectives' thorough efforts initially, no conclusive evidence emerged. The team remained determined and hopeful that their persistence would eventually lead to a breakthrough that could bring closure to Aaron's case and justice for her. On August 14, 2014, A new lead surfaced during the ongoing search when a member of the San Bernardino Cave rescue team detected a strong odor of gas emanating from a particular mine shaft. The team quickly deployed a rescuer into the shaft to investigate the source of the odor. Inside, they made a grim discovery: a human leg. Recognizing the significance of this finding, the rescue team expedited the extraction of the body from the mine. Along with the remains, they recovered several items that could serve as vital evidence, including a makeshift torch fashioned from a skirt, a propane tank, and a bottle of Sprite. These objects were meticulously cataloged as they could provide crucial insights into the circumstances surrounding Aaron's tragic fate. Once the body was recovered, it was immediately transported to the medical examiner's office for a thorough examination. The autopsy revealed that the remains were indeed those of Aaron Corwin. More disturbingly, the medical examiner found a garrote wire wrapped around her neck, pointing to strangulation as the cause of death. A garrote is a sinister device typically used to strangle a victim by applying severe pressure to the neck or windpipe. It usually consists of a rigid handle or structure attached to a wire, cord, or similar flexible material, which is then tightened around the victim's neck, severely restricting or completely cutting off the oxygen supply. Armed with the findings from the medical examiner and evidence collected at the scene, law enforcement quickly moved to issue an arrest warrant for Chris Lee, charging him with first-degree murder in connection with Aaron Corwin's death. The subsequent trial brought to light even more unsettling details. Several witnesses testified, bolstering the prosecution's case against Lee. One of Lee's acquaintances recounted how Lee had expressed an interest in methods of body disposal in the weeks leading up to Aaron's disappearance. This testimony was supported by another witness who remembered seeing a white propane tank in Lee's possession, the same type found near Aaron's body. When questioned about the tank, Lee had chillingly remarked that he planned to use it to blow up a mine. Another key piece of testimony came from a close friend of Aaron's who stated that Aaron had fallen deeply in love with Chris Lee and had plans to leave her husband John to be with him. She described Aaron's excitement about a special trip she had planned with Chris to Joshua Tree National Park on the day she went missing. During the trial, the prosecution introduced critical forensic evidence. A DNA expert from the crime lab testified regarding items found with Aaron's body. The green t-shirt used to create the makeshift torch discovered beside Aaron's remains tested positive for Chris Lee's DNA. Additionally, the expert confirmed that the DNA swab taken from the Sprite bottle found next to Aaron's body contained traces of DNA from both Aaron and Chris, further linking Lee to the crime scene and supporting the prosecution's case that Chris Lee was directly involved in Aaron Corwin's tragic death. The prosecution presented a chilling narrative in the Aaron Corwin murder case, alleging that Chris Lee lured Aaron to Joshua Tree National Park under the pretense of a romantic getaway but with malicious intent. According to the prosecution, Chris met Aaron at the park entrance and convinced her to enter his vehicle. Instead of taking her to any of the scenic spots or hiking trails, he drove her straight to the Rose Peru mines. There, it was alleged, Chris strangled Aaron using a garrote and subsequently dropped her body down a mine shaft. In an effort to eradicate all traces of the crime, he reportedly attempted to use a homemade torch, crafted from his t-shirt and a propane tank, to blow up the mine, thus destroying both Aaron's body and any incriminating evidence linking her to him. However, for reasons unclear in the trial, Chris aborted his plan to detonate the mine. The reason behind his decision not to proceed with the explosion was not disclosed, leaving a gap in the sequence of events as presented by the prosecution. In his defense, Chris Lee took the stand, outlining his intentions. Around the time of the incident, he informed the jury of his plans to voluntarily leave the United States Marine Corps by June 2014, motivated by a desire to begin anew. He also mentioned his intention to end his affair with Aaron and relocate to Alaska with his wife and daughter. Chris detailed to the jury that on June 28th, he had organized a hunting trip in a secluded but picturesque part of the park, ostensibly as a setting for a candid discussion with Aaron. According to Chris, upon reaching the Rose Peru mine, Aaron expressed concerns about the site's safety and opted to stay in the vehicle while he unpacked. Chris testified that when he returned to the vehicle where Aaron was listening to music, they engaged in a discussion during which he revealed his relocation plans to Alaska. Aaron's reaction, as per Chris's testimony, was to express a wish to follow him to Alaska, underscoring her desire to remain involved in his daughter's life. This testimony aimed to depict a different, less sinister interaction between Chris and Aaron than what the prosecution suggested, painting a picture of unresolved romantic and personal entanglements rather than premeditated murder. During his testimony, Chris Lee offered a markedly different account of the events leading to Aaron Corwin's death, attributing a grave accusation as his motive. He claimed his wife, Nicole, had discovered that their daughter was being sexually abused and he suspected Aaron was the perpetrator. Chris recounted that while parked near the mine, he confronted Aaron about the alleged abuse. According to his testimony, Aaron appeared extremely nervous and began to stutter before confessing to the allegations. Chris told the jury that this confession ignited a fierce anger within him and a desperate need to protect his daughter. Fueled by rage and a desire for retribution, Chris stated that he retrieved his garrote, a device used for strangulation, and admitted to using it to strangle Aaron. After killing her, he dragged her body to the mine shaft, where he disposed of it to ensure it would never be found. The court found Chris Lee guilty of first-degree murder, sentencing him to life without the possibility of parole. Aaron's husband, John Corwin, along with the detectives and prosecutors involved in the case, vehemently refuted Chris's allegations that Aaron had harmed the child. They condemned his claims, asserting that everyone familiar with Aaron knew she was incapable of such actions. Chris's defense, centered on these serious accusations against Aaron, failed to convince the jury of his justifications, leaving the community and all involved in the case to grapple with the tragic and complex dimensions of the relationships that led to such a catastrophic conclusion.